Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, it's Nestlemania. Alongside for the ride is not JC. However, I would pick this man as my fifth man in war games. None other than Mr. Impact himself for the Jobber Knocker, Dommy Feds. Let's bring him in.
How we doing, Nestle?
Good. JC's going to be very excited, or just, I don't know what his reaction is going to be to this. Is going to be
He's probably not going to be thrilled with me now.
He did say to me, he goes, does Dom even watch the product?
He always knocks me. He's like, Dom doesn't even fucking watch. And I'm like, yes, I do. I just watch the main shit. That's my problem. Like,
no, I know.
It's Bloodline or nothing for me at this point.
Bloodline or bust for Dommy Feds.
It is Bloodline or bust.
Wow. Okay. Well, we got a lot to talk about here. We've got a lot to cover, a lot of ground, but we always start in the shine. So I will, as the host and you are the guest, would you like to kick it off on something that you thought was positive this week, Dommy?
So in the shine, I have the open segment to SmackDown. Like I said, the Bloodline stuff. For me, this is it. We're heading into War Games and Survivor Series, and they're picking up steam with the Bloodline, but there's a lot going on, right? So that's where my shine is, but I also have a lot of questions that I'm confused by. It's got me asking questions. So I guess we'll get into it, but that's the shine right now is the opening segment to SmackDown with the Bloodline.
So basically what happened on the Bloodline was, I believe, was that the Bloodline happened. Jay interrupted, bringed out Sammy trying to crack everybody up with the, hate's not really the problem here. The opposite of hate is indifference, and you love me. And I was just like, they all started kind of like covering up their faces and their fucking.
So you tweeted that out. So break that down for me. I could have just Googled the word indifference, but like, so what's he saying there?
He's basically saying, if you hated me, like if you really wanted nothing to do with me, then you would be kind of like, there would be no emotion attached to me. But because there's an emotion attached to me, there's still love. And what I love about that line is that about 2 minutes later, he gets hot. Like Roman gets red fucking hot. And then he starts snapping at the Usos and he's like, you're not family, and walks away. So the fact that he lit the candle of like, oh shit, like he is still, there is a feeling. Cause a lot of people will say, I don't know, love you too. There you go. Another bomb reference there for the little girl. So she, sorry, no, I got her in my brain. So Roman leaves, right? And they get all hot at each other because of this whole thing. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, so in one foul swoop, they showed he still cared, but he's still a lunatic, kind of. And if you listen to what psychologists say, Dom, they say that hate and love are very close in your brain. Okay. So it's one of those things where, like, you think about it this way, right? Like, sometimes you love somebody, they don't love you back, and that turns into hate. But you don't really hate that person. You're just pissed off they don't feel the same way. So I can see that.
That is toxic.
Yeah. Well, that's what life is.
So I had kind of the complete opposite. My mentality of that was like, Roman has been here before. He knows what Sammy's all about. He didn't seem like, Ethan's just like, what are you talking about, Sammy? Like, we've been down this road before. And when Sammy was like, you want that. You want all the good stuff. We want the handshakes, and we can have all that. And you want that. You want that. And I'm like, there's no reason for Roman to want that. Sammy wants that, and he's trying to make Roman believe he wants that. So that's where my head went, because I guess we can get into it now, but like rewind the clocks back 2 years ago to the Royal Rumble, when at the end of the Royal Rumble, Roman is about to take out Kevin Owens, and Sammy jumps in his way, right? He stops it. And Roman's like, all right. So then he tests him, right? And he gives him the chair. He's like, all right, you do it. You do KO. And what's he do? He bails the fuck out. Sorry. He bails out, and he buries Roman. So if you're Roman Reigns, you know Sammy ain't going the distance for you, right? What purpose does Sami Zayn serve Roman Reigns with Roman knowing already he tested him 2 years ago, whatever it was, year and a half, I don't know. And Sammy couldn't get the job done. After all that lead up was for Sammy to prove to Roman that he would do anything he asked. And then when the final test came, he bailed out and he turned on Roman. If you're Roman Reigns, what makes you want to bring Sammy back into the fold?
You want to beat Solo, and you need to do the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. And you don't need to have that answered question there, Dom. It just makes it really enticing to see what happens at War Games, right? As a viewer.
It does.
Right. So you're sitting there, you're going, is Sammy going to turn? Is someone else going to pop up? Is someone else going to turn in this thing? Is there a double agent? Like once Bruce Pritchard always says, if you can start asking questions, they got you.
Right. And that's why no matter how mad I am, not to cut you off, at this not making sense,
right,
it's making me wonder what's going to happen. So WWE has us yet again. But I was curious to what your answer was to that question of, if you're Roman Reigns and you went through all this with Sammy already, why are we back here again? Because that's all I kept thinking this whole segment.
My thought but I mean, you go back to relationships, any friendships that you have or relationships, right? Sometimes you go back even though right?
Again, right.
So it's like you can't help yourself. And I think, Jay knows he's not going to turn on Jay, and Sammy aren't going to turn on each other. Jay's not going to turn on Jimmy. So it just feels like there's at least a truce in terms of like, okay, we clearly all don't like each other, but there's these other 5 idiots that we got to take care of first. And then we can go back to hating each other. It's one of those things where my enemy and my enemy is my friend, right? So I think that's where they're headed. Personally, I'm a little, I looked at the spoilers for next week, which is not
I ran into one of them by accident. I was pissed. I didn't know it was taped.
Right. So it's difficult for me to be like, really? I would have wanted it to stay 4-on-4, or my thought was adding Cody and The Rock, because I think that was like, holy shit,
I'm so glad that doesn't look like that's going to happen. And what I think is going to happen, or my hope for the Survivor, my hope's going to land in the finish for Survivor Series War Games. So I don't want to get too much more into this segment until we get to the hope. But I will say this: I love everything about Jimmy Uso.
Really?
Man, because I went back, that whole segment got me involved. I was telling you, like, I went back and I watched the end of War Games, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and every time it's fucking Jimmy.
Wow.
Every time Roman needs something or somebody, it is Jimmy Uso. And it was like, wow. And no one's talking about it enough. So kudos to Jimmy doing all the right things by Roman.
But what does that say, that you do all the right stuff and nobody's talking about you?
I mean, I don't know. Is no one talking about that? Yeah, I guess.
I mean, he's the other Uso at this point. And I don't mean that sparingly. I mean, he really is there's main event.
Right.
And then there's not. Like, that's all that it is. And so it's interesting that way. But I get it. I totally get it. But we should probably move on, because I'm sure we'll get into territory.
We'll get back into it, right?
We'll get right back into it. Something that I thought was really just fucking cool for me, and maybe we can disagree, and it's okay if we get into murky waters here. I really loved the Damian Priest Gunther promo.
I just rewatched it like 10 minutes ago.
And I will say this much. The reason I loved it, I don't necessarily care for the Gunther and Ludwig stuff, but I was watching Damian Priest, and you go back 6 months, you go back a year, and you're just like, what? Mm-hmm. What are they doing? And then you watch last Monday's promo, and you're like, this guy.
Who is this guy? I hate that we're going to agree on this, because I hate not that I hate Damian Priest. I just haven't got him like backstage segments. He has yet to impress me live in front of a crowd. Man, he knocked it out of the park. And not to skip over Kaiser, he kind of got buried. he kind of got buried all throughout Raw last night, which I didn't love, but we can get back to that later. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Damian Priest was an all-star last night.
I just love I thought it was probably his best promo to date.
100%.
I think the reason I'm connecting with him as a fan is because of his believability. I love that he came out right away and was like, "What are you going to say? This, and this? Okay, what else you got?" And I was just like, "Okay, you disarmed him with his words. Fantastic." I don't believe that Gunther's really afraid of him. They kind of made it seem like that at the end of the promo, but I appreciate what we're doing here is it's a foregone conclusion that Gunther's going to win at Survivor Series, at least in my mind.
Wow.
Because he just lost to Cody. I don't see them doing that. In my mind, it's a foregone conclusion. But they've done an excellent job in that promo right there, just on Monday, what they can do to make you go, there's a sliver. There's a sliver. I at least want to see what happens because I'm not going to say anything bad about Damian Priest because I'm really into it right now.
But that's a testament to what he did in that promo. That's why you believe in it. You know,
right.
He had to sell you on it, and he absolutely did. So I agree with that 100%.
And I think that the wrestling is about selling. A lot of people don't remember that, but it is, whether you're talking or you're fighting, it's about selling the most. So I just thought it was really great. And it was just so nice to see because, like I said, I'm waiting for Punk. I'm waiting for Goldberg. I'm waiting for all these people to line up for Gunther.
Dude,
and
Punk always slips my mind. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, no, there's so many things that Gunther probably has lined up from now to WrestleMania that I'm just thinking to myself, okay, this guy is he's going to be lined up and he's fine. Like, it doesn't matter what he does, he's fine.
Line him up, knock him down for Gunther.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. But they've done a great job righting his wrongs or whatever has haunted him in the past or things he has left unfinished. They've done a great job being like, okay, we're going to right the ship on this guy. And then, we'll get back to business with some new matchups, but they've done a great job flipping the script. And I've really enjoyed Gunther's heel stuff. I am curious about Ludwig because all my thoughts were like, okay, someone needs to get beat up because they have to have one over to make them seem strong to go up against Gunther. And that's kind of his role right now. And that's fine. But there is like a small part of me that's just like, is Ludwig going to be the one to beat Gunther? Like,
whoa,
I don't know.
Oh, it's interesting because, like I said, like rewatching that just now, I was like, wow, Ludwig, like that was Da Vinci's thing. Like he was the reason they were there. Like you kind of didn't want to do that to Ludwig, whatever you call him. So you kind of, let Da Vinci take the beating, and now it's not like that. But do you think Gunther goes all the way to WrestleMania with the title?
That's a tough one because in my head, I'm really thinking no.
Okay.
I think if I was a betting man, and I'm not, although I know you and everybody else love to, bet the whole fucking farm. For some reason, I just see CM Punk holding that title into Mania. I don't know why. But
Punk comes into Mania with that title,
holding that title. Because here's the thing: if Seth Rollins is holding that championship, we're all going to be like, "What the fuck." But if CM Punk holds it, you're like, all right, I can handle that.
I can run with that. Maybe it happens to the Rumble then. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like Elimination Chambers coming up in Canada. There's the Royal Rumble. They're all big events here. I just feel like they're gonna let Gunther and Goldberg be its own attraction.
That's right too. Yep.
And I would assume it's probably slotted for Mania. I'm guessing. That seems like a weird thing, but I feel like that's where you maximize the Goldberg thing.
I think you're right. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think in any other case, when you're leaving and you're retiring, you look up at the lights. That's the right thing to do. But in this case with Goldberg, I feel like they'd just give him the fucking victory and be like, all right, you got your fucking wish now. Go.
You think Goldberg goes over Gunther?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. That we completely disagree on. If that happens, I riot. Like, no way.
That's the reason.
He needs that win. Like, you're doing all this for him, then you're going to have him lose.
I know. The thing is I just want to see the internet burn. Like, there
is some fun in that. You're
like,
right.
If Gunther wins status quo, we all enjoy it and it's fine. And that's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes just getting the result you didn't expect for me is one of those things where I'm just like, fuck yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I can see that.
And it makes you jump out of your seat because, again, not that it's bad that you can call wrestling if you see it ahead of time. Sometimes that's just the most logical answer, right? When everybody agrees this is what should happen. But the one or two times that they flip it and they screw you over and you're just like, that's good shit because you don't see it coming. And then you're like, okay, I want to see my guy win next time or I want to see this next time. And so Gunther's going to be fine anyway, no matter what he does. But I think Priest right now has been on a trajectory of just real importance after that loss. And so I've been really, I mean, I just assume we're not done with Finn. So I assume Finn's going to screw him again.
Well, we got Finn and Dom right last night too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, what a line by Dom. I got closer to the world championship than you have in a long time. I was like,
wow. Yeah.
You know? And we know that we can kind of feel the schism happening there between Finn and JD and the rest of the group. So
I don't know if you want to get into that right now, but I guess
it's natural.
Yeah, Finn even said he dropped a little bit of a line. He said something like, "I was doing what Liv told me to do."
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, and I don't know if that was like creating a wedge. I don't know why he dropped that, but like, well, she told me to do this, so this is why we're here right now. You know, like I thought that was interesting.
I mean,
that's what I took away from that.
I mean, would it be weird if Liv went with Finn and not Dom? Because I feel like I don't know.
That's been hovering over them for a long time. Remember, he grabbed like the room key back in the day too, and people were starting to chirp about it. Like, is there something going on with Finn and Liv? So who knows?
It's good television, right? When you have to ask questions, it's good television. Anything else that you got that's positive that you want to talk about?
Let's see. Raw. Your boy Braun Breaker. Holy shit! You guys, I'm gonna eat so much crow, but yikes! Like Jimmy comes up to him and asks him, like, do you want to be the fifth man? The kid looks like $1 million with his leather jacket, gray tan, belt over his shoulder, and I'm like, shit. Like, this is what Nestle and JC have been talking about. The kid oozes it. He oozes it, and he's going to be a star. So great for Braun Breaker, and with a possibility of being involved. He probably won't be, but just the fact that Jimmy approached him about it, man, what's that do for him? Like, wow. You know?
Yeah. So that was funny because when I saw that, first off, kudos to you for being a mature adult and calling yourself on the carpet here. I'm assuming Josh would tell me to, who the fuck is Josh? But JC would tell me to cut it right there and put that up as you win. When you win, you win.
There's things I have to be dug in on, and I wanted it to be Braun Breaker, but there ain't no way. There just ain't no way it's gonna happen. I can't dig that hole any longer. So
he's fascinating to watch, in my opinion. And the other thing that was a connective tissue for me was like, this is where my head went. I don't necessarily know if they did it on purpose. But when I saw Jimmy talking to Braun Breaker, all I could think about was, didn't Heyman manage him in NXT for like a night when they were trying to pop a rating?
Oh,
and
maybe.
I was like, Braun Breaker being the next Paul Heyman guy after the Bloodline thing has seen everything. Like, ooh, wow.
Yikes.
You know?
Yeah, that's off the charts.
I mean, think about that for a second right there, right?
Yeah, that's a visual, man.
You know, I mean, not that he needs it, because I think he's strong in the promo department, but just having that extra like oomph.
Yep.
You know, that's what's going to send him over the edge. I mean, someday you would think Braun Breaker versus Roman Reigns WrestleMania just to get him to the next spot.
See, like hearing that though, it's like no way. But and that brings me back to like, no, it can't happen, but it really might.
Show me evidence that he's done anything wrong. Show me evidence that you can find anybody better at this point. Yeah. That's young, right? That's ready. That kid. Right. I mean, I don't want to put the torch on him. I don't want to curse him.
No, but like we said, look at the results we got from him and Jacob facing off. Like, yeah, you're right.
He's a stud. You can't, and I don't even really care. Like, he's not a Nestle guy. I'm not like, oh my God, but like, what you can't deny that that's a star. Like you just are like, yep, that seems like it checks all the boxes. So here we go. John Cena, move over. Roman Reigns, move over. Cody Rhodes, move over. You're gonna get plowed by the dog barker.
By the machine that is Braun Breaker.
Yeah, just.
Do you want to stay with Raw?
I've got plenty of things I can talk about. So you tell me. You can choose your adventure, or I can take over. It's up to you.
I got one more, and then you can probably take over because I don't see much after this. How do you feel about Kofi and Xavier Woods?
I loved this, but I feel like I think I tweeted it out, but I feel like I'm getting blue balls. Like I just want the turn to happen now, and I'm like anticipating it. And I know that we've only got like 2 or 3 more weeks left in November. So I think the Raw is coming where they dedicate the New Day special, or they're going to basically have a friendship festival or something. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because we're at a boiling point here for the New Day. I like that Woods got mad that Kofi took a match that he wasn't supposed to help out truth.
And was Kofi talking shit and he walked up on him? I missed that. And I can't rewind because I'm using the app.
Yeah.
So it sounded like, God.
It sounded like it wasn't, but he walked in on it thinking that it was like,
okay.
It was, but he was just basically implying like, you know, I don't know what the hell's wrong with him lately. And then that was when he walked in. And so it was like, so I think it was like, if you had heard the first part of the conversation, it wouldn't have been, but he only heard that. So then it's, you know, misunderstood. And so that's how we are. But no, I really enjoyed it. Again, I'm getting blue balls because I feel like if it doesn't happen in glorious fashion, like this is an end of the show thing on a Monday Night Raw. You're like, holy shit, did he just beat up Kofi Kingston? Holy shit, did he just paralyze Big E? Like, again, like that's what you do.
Wow.
Because the other two had their moment. And I think
so you want this to be Xavier Woods' moment.
Yeah, he has to. I think the other two, Kofi
had Kofi. We're opposite.
Kofi had Kofi Mania. That is a life-changing, life-altering moment for a huge community of people, but specifically that person, Kofi Kingston. He can have that. No one can ever take that moment away from him. Big E got the championship. That's wonderful, but obviously cut short for different reasons. So, but he got his moment too. And he's been kind of like just doing great work, even though he's not working anymore. And we've always kind of said, Woods, amazing, but, and there's always a but. So
that's my issue with Xavier Woods. I don't get it. I don't see it. I never have, and I probably never will. So I'm hoping Kofi comes out of this one back to, I don't want to say back to Kofi Mania, but back to Kofi being a primetime player. You know, like I just don't see that for Xavier Woods. I never have. I never will. Nothing against the guy. He does zero for me. I think Kofi has all the talent in the world. So when this does go down, I hope Kofi comes out on top of it. That's all I want to say about that.
You're wrong, but that's okay. You're wrong. You're wrong in so many ways.
I mean, it makes sense because they both had their moments, but Woods is just not it.
But let me ask you this, right? Did you watch during the Shield? Were you part of the Shield? Did you watch that time?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
Love that stuff.
Who did you love the most and who did you like the least?
Man, tough. At the time, Moxley was probably my guy, but I knew I thought Seth was going to be like, wow, he blew me away. You know, when he became authority, Seth, like we all knew what they wanted out of Roman. And when they weren't getting it, and like Seth was doing the authority stuff before Seth tore his knee up, authority Rollins, man, go back and watch that. Like that knee injury, it completely deflated him, and he never got back to the way he was. But he was on a rise.
I'm just saying, this is a similar situation, not to the extent of the Shield, but it's a similar situation in my opinion, where you're looking at it going, okay, the other two had their moment. He had King of the Ring and swept under the ring. Like there's so much you can do here with him. And then when he's a heel, I bet you're going to eat crow again. And we'll have you back on so you can eat a full crow right here on camera.
I don't know if I can eat Xavier Woods crow. Braun Breaker, yeah. Xavier Woods, oh man.
I'm not saying world champion, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Intercontinental United States, sure. If he's a Money in the Bank winner and doesn't cash in, I could believe that. But that's as far as probably his ceiling is going to be, in my opinion, right now.
So to build all this to do that, though? To build all this to be like, oh, Money in the Bank, you're not going to cash. I don't know. Like, why?
Why not? Some people are just here, and some people are here, and some people are here. Xavier Woods deserves a shot. He deserves a shot. And you know what? Hey, look, did anybody think Tom Brady was going to be anything, right? He just got his moment, right? So, I mean, you never know. Preparation, baby. Preparation. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. Hey, just don't have a knee-jerk reaction. Just sit on your couch, enjoy, and then watch.
All right.
Then come back and tell Dr. Nessel how you feel. Okay? All right.
I love it.
All right. Moving on. I'll do some fast ones because these ones I just want to get through before we get the rest of the program underneath our belt here. All right. So first off, I loved Bayley versus Candice on SmackDown. I felt bad when Candice said the whole thing and Indy's gone. That hurt my feelings. She's a better wrestler than Johnny Gargano. Had to get that in.
100%.
She's amazing. So I'm happy. I love the importance of their backstory that they had in the indie circuit that they kind of said in here, and how it's important to beat Bayley again. And because Bayley's had all these opportunities, Candice hasn't, but they've been around the same amount of time. I love that instinct. I love that feeling. I love that they're calling upon things because they've been better on commentary, not just this, but for other people, giving us backstory, giving us a reason to care. And I think that's what's been lost in a lot of commentary is your job when there's a breath. At least this is the way that someone has described it to me. When there's a breath, when someone's not doing a move, that's the commentary's opportunity to put somebody over, to get something over. And so that's those moments where I'm like, okay, they talked about the War Raiders. They talked about, you know, Bailey and Candice. They try to find different ways to make people three-dimensional, which is important because they don't do a good enough job. Like, so right now, AEW to me is on an upswing, right?
Absolutely.
But the commentary bothers me sometimes because it's move. There's no break, which again, they are the alternative and it works for most times, but give Shivani a couple seconds to put something over because that's what he's amazing at. JR would have put something over. Excalibur, as much as everybody loves him and he does a great job, he's so fast talking.
He's fast talking. He's long-winded. Yeah, he takes away from the action. Right.
You're stepping over things. And I mean, like Taz, I mean, I'm always a Taz guy, so but like listening to Taz, if Taz could not just be like something Jones every 2 seconds, but actually put something over, he knows what he's doing and better than most people. So I feel like if Excalibur was taken away and put on a different show, I would enjoy it a lot more and give people space to talk. So I think commentary is really important. And this was a key indicator.
This was big for, did you say Candice?
Candice, exactly.
So, so where do you think she's going from here? Because it seems like she's getting a lot of play right now. And I love it. Like, do you think this is just going to be it for her? Like, she's just found a nice little spot in this feud and everything that's going on? Or are they going to build on Candice? Like, is she going to get something out of this? Because it feels like there's momentum with her right now.
I hope so, but then I'm also lurking. We've got a shoveler coming back. That's one.
Charlotte?
She's coming back. We've got, you know, there's always Becky could be lurking at any moment. But there's so many women in NXT that they got to push. I mean, I forgot about like half the people they called up. It was just like, oh yeah, she's out because she had a boob job, and oh yeah, she's injured, and oh yeah, like all these things come up, and you're just like, what the fuck are they doing?
They barely have enough time for the women they have on the main shows. They're going to start calling all these superstars up from NXT.
Well,
where are they going to put everybody?
If you listen to the Dirties, apparently Raw and SmackDown in January start to be 3 hours.
Okay, so that helps. Right,
that helps. And I mean, the women's division and the tag division, to me, on both shows, is what they need to expand on because the tag teams have suffered and the women have suffered completely, unless your name is Bianca Belair and Jay Cargo. So that's that. Anyway, moving on. Let's see. I did love that. It hurt me that Pretty Deadly single-handedly got squashed by Ciampa, but I love pissed off Ciampa. So that was good shit. We can talk about the segue here if you want to go into but
no, okay, yeah, you're better at that than I am. Again.
No, so we want to talk about the Randy Orton stuff or not? I mean, that's
well, let's stay with Ciampa for a second.
Okay.
Because incredible. He gets pissed off. Johnny just wants to hang out with his Motor City Machine Gun Boys, right? Ciampa gets all bullshit and then wins the match on his own. It's like, whoa, okay. And I immediately, the second I saw that, I'm like, there's your next US champ. Like that's all I thought. That's all I thought of when I saw that. So that's all I got for Ciampa. But man, awesome.
I'm nervous that if they break up DIY, like I said last week, it seems like a heel turn seems more inevitable than having them break up, because if you break them up, that's 2 segments you have to fill with them. And I don't know right now if they can do that. Talk to me in January, they might have more time. Okay. And those guys, they don't deserve the quick segment. Those guys can go. They need the wrestling so that they can get over. Like the smaller segments are fine. They were effective. Like this week was effective. But he also had a promo before a match and then another promo backstage where he got pissed when the Street Profits got the title match instead, which again leads to more character development for Ciampa and sort of Johnny by, osmosis. The Street Profits, if they're heels, I mean, I guess that works, but you're going to have to change the presentation altogether. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually concerned going like 4 years without the championships. That's a long fucking time.
Wow.
And like by doing that, do you in fact lessen the value of the Street Profits by not giving them a championship for 4 years?
No, because I honestly, until you just said that, I didn't realize they haven't had a title in 4 years.
Okay.
So by me, but again, like I casually watch. If I was doing this on a regular basis and like going through fine tooth comb, yeah, maybe I'd notice it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all from Montez Ford. I gotta think, right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, if Montez Ford doesn't get that singles push, what are we doing, right? So are they
exactly.
going to let them, right? Moving on, we'll go really quickly through all this other stuff. Are we saving the RKO stuff, or I'm just curious?
No, we can get into it now.
Okay. I was gonna give it my comeback, but god damn it, that pile driver, like the fact, like it's hysterical to me. Like, and again, I don't mean to make fun of AEW, but like Friday night, a pile driver paralyzes somebody and they're off TV, and Cody goes into the ambulance with them. On AEW, you go and you're watching, it's like Nick Wayne does a fucking Canadian Destroyer Tiger Driver, and you're like, and the guy gets up, and you're like, these are the two differences right here.
That's a great point, Nestle. So real quick on the pile driver. I didn't realize it was banned. Like, shame on me for watching wrestling for so long and not realizing no one's thrown a pile driver in X amount of years. Another thing is, didn't Bob Orton use that as a finisher?
He had a pile driver and the superplex, yeah.
So it was cool that I didn't know if they did it on purpose, but I'm like, he puts Randy away with a move his dad used to use. Like, awesome KO. Like, I love that.
Yeah, KO has been doing great. The only thing is I kind of want to see KO win a championship here, and I just don't think they have it in it. But he deserves one more run, because the Goldberg ending to his run really left a bad taste in my mouth as a KO fan. And he's been doing he's probably one of those guys that just makes the best out of anything. But man, like when I watch him, I'm just like, he is so good. He's so good at what he does. Better, and he's believable. He's an absolute like ridiculous human being. Like you look at him and you're like, yep, that guy would kill somebody. Absolutely.
Right. So I have an issue with KO though, but it's going to be in the heat. Okay. So I don't know how to do this. So we hold off on that.
Yeah, just because I want to move on real quickly. Yeah. Let's see, make sure I don't miss anything here. We've talked about Candice. We've talked about that. We talked about going over to Raw. We've talked about that, and I think we're good. Oh, I did want to say this part that I thought was very interesting. Bronson Reed, top of the hour. Like, think about that for a second, folks. Yes, it led to a Seth Rollins brawl, and Seth Rollins is one of the money makers. He's the top guys. He's the guys that you put on the billboard because he's Seth Rollins. But the fact that they had enough like confidence in Bronson Reed to go, hey, from that 58-minute mark to the hour change, when people are, going to just see what else is on, and they have this big son of a bitch in the middle of the ring, and you're like, I always look at top of the hours, whoever starts the show, whoever's in the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and then, was the 10 o'clock or whatever. Those are the coveted spots. And the fact that Bronson Reed got that spot, like I said, yes, it ended in a brawl. Obviously, it was awesome. But that was important to tell me they are investing in this guy. They know exactly what they're doing. It's through the fucking roof. Through the fucking roof with Bronson.
Yeah, see, that's for you pointing that out. That's great because I don't see things like that. Like that's not on my register, on my radar. But every time he's on the TV, I mean, him and Rollins are doing great. Yeah, no, not even close. But I appreciate it.
Don't let Joe, our buddy, the backcracker, throw you off. He does it to me every single week. That's what he does in the chat, so it's fine.
But him and Rollins, man, they're cooking right now, and it's. But I'm a Rollins guy anyway, and Reed, I'd like, you went over New Japan, he tore it down over there, and they're capitalizing on him, and he's stepping up and hitting grand slams. So yeah, I agree with you, and the fact that he's doing it in these great time slots, even better. Good, I didn't even know that.
I laughed so hard when I saw him go do that suicide dive. We were talking about it in the chat, but Jesus Christ, like
that was smooth.
When a boy can, and here's the thing, this is me being the traditionalist. I don't want to throw off Nestle. The washing machine does. Well, got to get a ride somehow. Anyway, so the one thing,
great out to us. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Spin cycle. Sorry, got.
Yeah. So the one thing that I'm a Bret Hart guy through and through, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Heard about that last week.
Yeah. So. Woo! If you look at the way that Bret Hart and Owen Hart do cross bodies through the suicide dive through the middle rope, they actually don't go like directly in front of you. They actually change so that it's like they're kind of leading with their head a little bit, but it's a side thing through the
Mhm.
ropes. And by doing that, you actually get more of like an impact with it instead of the flying Dean Ambrose push that you would get every week.
Right.
And this one felt like a Bronson Reed kind of like, I'm coming for you. Like he didn't like shove him. He like went forearm first and like kind of
Right.
turned his body. I'm like, there you go. Like that. That's how you can tell someone that knows how to do a suicide dive. But that was impactful. I mean, for that guy to get through those ropes at that speed.
And his foot didn't get, nothing got caught up.
Yeah.
Like you've seen smaller people get caught up, tangled up doing it. So yeah,
that
was awesome.
I think we're good overall. Let's just go to, well, we can go to the Heat if you want.
So my Heat, and like it's Kevin Owens. It's crazy because it's not him as it's his reasoning. I'm sorry. What are you doing? Why are you out of control right now? You take out Randy Orton. And in the video, he says it's because Randy didn't pick me over Cody. He said that. Those words came out of his mouth, right, Nestle?
Yeah.
Did I heard that right?
Mm-hmm.
Cody and Randy have been boys for literally 20 years, if not, they were childhood friends, grew up in the business, legacy. What makes Kevin Owens think that Randy Orton is going to pick Cody Rhodes over him? Where is his head right now? What's going on? He has nobody. Kevin Owens has nobody. He attacks Cody Rhodes, who is the biggest babyface in the world and cares about everyone, right? Cody just wants the best for his guys. Owens destroys him in a parking lot, and then he goes after his best friend. And the reason is because Randy didn't pick him over Cody. That makes zero fucking sense to me. Like, I can't figure that out for the life of me. Like, what are you doing? You're an absolute loose cannon right now.
Have you ever been jealous before?
Like, I guess.
Okay. This might be difficult, but I think it's perfect. Like, and I'll tell you why. I have a lot of, great friends and stuff, but there are two people in my life that are like tippy top besides my wife and kids. And it's a tricycle, right? And sometimes if you hang out with the three of us, it's fine.
Okay.
But then sometimes you get left out, right? And you're like, what the fuck? You guys went to fucking Sonic without me? I'm going to fucking kill you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to bust your head open. You went to Sonic without me.
Okay.
I'm going to take this personally. So
Right.
like in my head, it's like, he chose that guy. He chose the squeaky clean guy. We were a tag team. Like, come on. Like, I can see that they were RKO. Like, that was their tag team. They were doing that.
Okay.
So
I was trying to put it together where I'm like, where was the alliance there? Where was the allegiance between these two? I didn't remember that. So that helps a little bit. But still, I mean,
listen, I think you think
what are you expecting, bro?
I mean, here's the other thing too, is it's a red herring in a lot of ways, because in my opinion, we're just waiting for Cody and Randy. So I think writing Randy off TV, having Randy return at the Rumble, have KO freak out, and then they unpause. They have Cody get to where he needs to go to Mania. Maybe we get Cody and Randy at Mania. That would be a Mania match.
I think that's where we're headed with, not to get too far ahead. I think that's where we're headed. So what happens though with KO, like we were just talking about earlier, Kevin Owens is maybe a Saturday night's main event, him and Cody for the title, and he's just going to lose again. Like, just another spot for Kevin Owens to be a stepping stone, like on the way to Cody and Randy.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't love that. I don't love that for Kevin Owens.
I mean, you don't have to love it. That's just what they're thinking is the best story right now. So
yeah,
it's not a hot hand scenario, but it is what it is. So it is what it is. So something I wanted to bring up that I was just kind of like, what the fuck is this? Is, well, I'm trying to find the right way to say this, but it's just kind of like, I'm just going to have to find a way to. I'm really excited for the Women's United States Championship, by the way. I thought that was fucking great.
But my thought is, the more titles we have, the better. Good.
Right, for the women specifically. But then I also thought of like, are we going to have TV time? And is there an Intercontinental title, or is there a secondary women's title on Raw? If it's just the one women's title on SmackDown, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm jumping the gun, and I'm hoping I'm just off by a week or two or whatever. But it just feels like if we have one, we need another. And if it's not, I was excited for it. I think it's a positive step for like the Mia Yims and the Selena Vega tomato cans of the world. And then, of course, maybe, God forbid, Chelsea Green gets the championship, Piper Niven, like all those women who have been working very hard. They deserve something, right? They deserve more than just kind of
100%.
acknowledgement. So I'm happy for them. I just hope the women on Raw get something as well. And again, probably putting the cart before the horse. But it's frustrating because I'm just like, why couldn't we done a segment here with both, GMs and both unveiling something, and then everybody would have got Gaga over it? It would have been wonderful. You could do it at Survivor Series while in between War Games or something to give everybody a letdown. You know what I mean? For just whatever.
Well, man, I guess that opens the door to doing something like that on Raw. You got to make it feel impactful for each brand, right? If you do it together, what show are you doing it on? What title's more important? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like giving it that separation. All right, SmackDown US title, Raw IC title, and each you give it to them separately. Like, I don't know if doing that. I don't know if debuting them together is a great move. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe I need to shut up and watch. That's
no.
I give my own medicine, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't really care about the 6-woman tag on Raw. It was great. Babyfaces win, but like, whatever. It like some of these things just feel like inconsequential to me on Raw
just
sometimes.
People on the show.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, Priest beats Ludwig. Okay, like it just again.
I didn't get that match at all, right?
It was just like, I get it. It's just filler.
Dude,
and then
we didn't need it. We didn't need it after we threw him out of the ring in the opening segment with that segment.
Right.
So I don't think we need that match.
Right. And then of course with the women's tag title match, a lot of Gaga here. I think this is my biggest heat of the week. And I saw the spoilers for next week, so we probably won't preview Raw. I'll just let JC take over next week. But the one thing I wanted to say was it felt like, at least for me from watching this, it made me feel like, oh my God, we forgot about the women's War Game match. Like it felt like, oh, by the way, there needs to be a women's War Game match.
Are they getting one?
Yeah, because if you read what happens next week, it's like we've got 5-on-5. So
how
it's
many
like
weeks we get to 2 weeks still,
right? But see, you didn't even think that was a thing, did you?
Holy smokes! Yeah, completely forgot about it.
But that's what I'm trying to say here is that it doesn't work because it felt like we spent literally every piece of evidence and every piece of asset we have here for the bloodline. But then it's just like, then you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, the rest of the show, the women suffer, and that's not fair to them. It's just like the best we have right now is Bianca and Jade and Io, and then I think it was Naomi, and then of course somebody returns next week, so we'll leave that out. But
and it's just like any of that. I ran into one thing,
right? But then like on the other side, it's the Tiffany's of the world. It's the Nia Jax's, and then like
how good is Nia Jax? How good is Nia Jax right now?
She's on fire. She's doing
She's incredible.
Yeah,
like wow.
Yeah, I got no problem with her. Hi, bud. I can hear him against the wall. My son's never up this late, by the way, so good for him. Well, I'm going to be paying for it in a little bit, but that's fine. This is what we do on Tuesdays. So that just bothers me because I feel like there's so much shit going on there that they're just not doing a good enough job with it. Anyway, we've talked an awful lot here. I think it's time to get hopeful. Let's get hopeful. You want to start because you said you had quite a thing to talk about.
Oh, my hope. Okay, yeah. Real quick, I know we're long-winded. My hope is, and just piggybacking off what we talked about in the opening segment with the Bloodline. Why is Roman Reigns going to go through this with Sami Zayn again? And I don't think he does. So my hope is that Sami Zayn, being the loose cannon he is, like, watch Billy the Kid, right? Like, just Sami the Kid, bang, bang, bang. This kid is just, everyone's catching haluva kicks, solo, Roman Reigns. Like, he's out of control. He's trying to get Seth Rollins. He's doing anything he can just to be a part of the Bloodline. Roman doesn't need it. Roman puts an end to Sami Zayn at War Games. But the way he does it is, because he loves doing this, right? He loves testing people. He's having a problem with Jay. Jay wants to insert his dominance with the Bloodline and Roman and not tagging him in and telling him, you got one more. That's your last chance. That's your last pass with me, talking to me like that. So Roman's going to hand the chair to Jay. He's going to say, do Sami at the end of War Games. And that's my hope, because we don't need Sami Zayn running around the Bloodline anymore. We need Roman to show that he is the tribal chief, that Jay ain't that guy. Jay's Jay Uso, right? Like, for everything he's done, great. You ain't more than what you are. Don't think you're better than Roman. Roman's going to make you do something you don't want to do to prove your loyalty. And that's going to be the end of War Games. That's my hope for the end of War Games, is that we see the end of Sami Zayn.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's tough because we know kind of what's going to happen. It seems like next week.
You know why? Do you see why I was so mad about the whole?
I know. Yeah.
And, right. Because it ran through a wrench into my plans, but I'm rolling with it.
I appreciate it. I do. Can I tell you what my hope is?
Yeah, I would love it.
I'll add to what I think the Survivor Series could possibly look like. Okay. So you're at the end of War Games. The original Bloodline, eventually wins with the additional 5th member. I will try not to say his name. Who supposedly
did they make it official?
I don't know yet.
I didn't see an official. I saw people think it's official, but go ahead.
So let's say it is Mr. Haha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're all standing there, just celebrating. Then the final boss comes out, just looks at him and goes, like, the thought process for me is the final boss is going to be like, you're going to tell me that you teamed with Cody? And he came out and he was like, okay, motherfucker, I'm watching. And now you're teaming with Seth? The 2 people we were trying to get, in the ground at WrestleMania last year, now you're teaming with that guy too? I don't know who you are anymore. It sounds like you need to be adolescent. Sounds like you need to be put in your place. You're no longer a tribal chief. And so to me, that's when that moment happens where it's like, okay, now you've spun it. The final boss is ready to go. Roman Reigns is ready to go. Because I think he'll make an appearance after Survivor Series. Like, you see them celebrating, boom, and he's in there, and you're just like,
that's so much more WWE than what I said at this point. That's such a TKO move too. And
no, but I just feel like he doesn't have to do anything. He's just gonna be like, seriously, dude, like, you're with him.
So where are we going? Roman Rock at WrestleMania?
I would think so. I mean, Cody and Owens, Cody Orton seems like a thing. CM Punk and Rollins seems like a thing,
Yeah.
So I mean, it just seems logical to me at this point that we're getting there.
Okay.
But, I just feel like it would make somewhat of a sense here that if they had Mr. Haha in there, that they're going, okay, like, those are the 2 that he was facing against, and now he's asking for their help, and he's like, not if you would just watch The Rock. Like, I think the things that I love about WWE is they're taking little misunderstandings and blowing them out of proportion. So I think this is a misunderstanding of like, well, if you just watched Rock and you noticed that I had to take down the Bloodline and they added this other monsoon tsunami dude on the other side, it seems like a logical thing here. And he's just like, I don't give a shit about all that. You teamed with him and you didn't want to. You said you were never going to team with them. And the other guy said,
I was just going to say that. Seth just said, never in a million years will I go back to Roman. And I'm like, in my head, once those words came out of his mouth, me being the fucking shield mock that I am, I said, they're saving that for one day when Moxley comes back. And in my head, though, like, you say something like that when you're Seth Rollins. If it's Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn who don't stick to their fucking guns with anything they say fucking ever, I would get it.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, when he speaks, especially about Roman Reigns, the guy sticks to it. He stick to his fucking guns. We're talking 10 years, Nestle. 10 fucking years. And every time Rollins says he's going to do something, he fucking does it. So if he ends up teaming with Roman after all that, after saying, using that quote, I will be so... The Shield fan in me will be so heartbroken that they didn't hold that quote until a time when they can actually come back together as a fucking unit if it ever happens. Because that's the only thing that should ever make Seth Rollins want to fucking deal with Roman Reigns again is when, hey, you know what? My bad. I'm sorry. Mox is bad. Okay, let's run some shit here. That's when you do it. That's all I got. That's just me being a Shield fan, though. And not, you know what I mean? So I get it.
Listen, I mean, I think that you have a point, but there is a real chance he never comes back.
And that's true, too. You're right.
So you can't be, and honestly, you don't know how much longer Seth Rollins with a bad wheel can last.
Oh, so quick, though. So quick to say that. Just be like, okay, right.
I mean, I love watching him in ring. I'm not a Seth Rollins guy. I don't want to see him talk, but you also think to yourself, like, how much has he been he was the MVP of WrestleMania. He was the MVP of so many things because he's just so good.
He's awesome.
He makes everybody better. So, I mean, but the wheels will fall off because of how hard he's worked.
100%. They already, right.
You know, and that's not fair to him. It's just a testament of how hard he's gone. And I think that's it. Like, you can't wait any longer.
You can't. Okay, if Father Time isn't on his side, then I guess to get.
Do you think Moxley's going to walk away from a giant bag?
No, no. But man, what a fucking sight it would be, right? Like You just went out and conquered the fucking world, literally. If there's anyone bigger than Roman Reigns to come back and say, okay, you were the tribal chief in here, but who was running shit outside these walls? That's an actual competitive fucking fire at some point. But you're right, it probably never happened.
I'm never gonna say never, but it would take a lot. Because in my head, it's like, I don't think Jon Moxley wants to be in that system anymore because he seems like an untamable kind of person.
Yeah,
and he likes being able to paint outside the lines here. So I just don't know if that sits well with his personality anymore.
Fair enough.
Now that he's already a star.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
All right. Do we go to our comeback?
Oh Jesus.
My comeback.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm going to give my entire comeback to NXT at the 230, as we said, at ECW Arena. I love this shit. I know you're going to feel your certain way. That's fine. I'll just
Glow 2.0.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. You don't like NXT.
I'm not saying I love Glow. I think Glow is great. But let's call a spade and what they're doing down there. Like they're a fucking factory for the female division coming up, which is great. Fine, fantastic. It's just not my bag. Like, see, here's the thing. Is like, I love you. I do. Yeah.
I do very much. But sometimes you're going out on a limb here without all the evidence. That's all I'm saying. HBK.
I don't have the CW. I can't watch it. I catch it online. I love Trick Williams is great. Ethan Page is great. Are they main event players that make me want to tune in? No.
That's fair.
No,
that's fair. Not. But the women in that division,
they're incredible. They're incredible. No, when I say Glow 2.0, that is not a knock.
Sounded like it was.
Kind of.
The way you delivered.
Delivery was a little bit of a knock. But I mean that's what we're doing down there. It's a factory for the women's division at this point, and that's great. But they all kind of look the same to me.
What?
Like that kind of like when I see the clips online, I'm like, who's who here? Who the fuck? Who am I looking at?
You're.
But again, I don't watch it.
Sky.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you're an old man yelling at the sky. Okay. Here's the thing: they're all stars. They're all stars. I understand that you probably haven't invested in them, and that's your fault, not anybody else's.
Okay.
Fine, so that's it. And I think you're high off your rocker if you think that none of these women are going to be stars. I mean, Zarya.
Said that. When did I say that?
I just
said they're all stars.
But you're not. You're not. Okay. Can I just?
There's going to be a huge bottleneck coming up into the main roster. Like, what are we planning on doing here? Go ahead.
Listen. They're not manufacturing tag teams very well in NXT. That's probably their one Achilles heel, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, they only got no. Let's not make tag teams with the roster we have.
Anyway,
Booker of the Year.
He is the Booker of the Year. He's not even close. Not even Triple H is doing a good job. Tony Khan is Tony Khan. Whatever on Planet Fafluga, that poor guy. But it's just, I will say this much: HBK is the best wrestling show only because he makes everything meaningful, and I think that's what I love about watching him. He's giving me a reason to go, I know nothing about this kid. I don't know why I should care. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I get it. I get it. And that's important. But I think you're absolutely wrong 100% that if you're not watching NXT, that's your problem. And if you are shitting on it, that's your problem. Because here's the thing. We're gonna have to. It's the same thing with Braun Breaker. You're sitting here and you're telling me all this stuff, and then you're gonna go, I have to eat crow now. Yeah, because you know what? You weren't on the fucking bandwagon when the fucking train was moving. So now the train's gonna come just right over you, right over you, and you're gonna be like, I should have listened to Nestle and JC. I should have listened. So I think I'm letting you get off easy right now because if you were hosting with somebody else right now, he would be torching you, telling you you're an old man.
That's why I did it with you and not him.
Of course.
I was actually hoping for a little more. I'm going to lie to you.
No, I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that the ECW arena was nice. They sprinkled in some Dawn Marie, some Francine. They had the Dudley boys. The only caveat was I was hoping RVD was going to be in the match. The fact that RVD didn't wrestle really bothered me because RVD's top 5 for me all time. I was an RVD guy from the beginning.
Awesome.
He's one of my favorites of all time. So for him not to wrestle at NXT in the ECW arena, I thought that was a miss personally. And the Javon Evans Wesley match was great. But the one thing I will say about Evans is he's so green and he's so young. He's got time, but some of the stuff he does is just so sloppy and so just it's chaos.
Where was he before this?
I'm sorry?
Where was he before NXT?
I don't know. I think he's like 19 years old. So I'm not being fair to the kid. I think
Yeah,
he's incredible, but
right.
I think like even the way he did the frog splash from RVD, it was just like that was sloppy. It
Yeah.
was just like, and like the RKO miss, it happens, whatever. But like
Okay.
he's got a lot of upside for sure. He's got a lot of, whatever, but that's a small thing. He's still got a huge upside. Give him time, right? Like nobody in the NCAA figures it out. And it sometimes takes a couple of years when they get in the pros to figure it out. So,
Right.
he'll get there. But the West Leaves of the world are fantastic. The women are fantastic, which is great. I enjoyed that. I was surprised they were the main event, but it seems like, hey, Jordan Grace is back in the fold too. That's important going forward for NXT.
That always helps. Right.
And I think there's just a lot going on here that was really exciting. And I always love ECW. So I was like, okay, I honestly wanted more. Like even Nunzio was great with Tony D. That was wonderful too. So I just thought overall,
I like that. Right.
Overall, I mean, like, and I don't know if you've met Nunzio, but a lot of people talk great things about Nunzio just being a selfless human being.
I think he did back in the day, actually.
So it's just like he couldn't be a nicer human being. So you just love to see that stuff. So I was excited for ECW NXT. I just wish there was a little bit more. But again, Dom, you're a casual, right? You're a filthy casual. So that's all it is. You're too busy betting on baseball, you old man in front. You're probably sitting on your fucking recliner and you're fucking watching a 13-inning game that hasn't fucking scored a goddamn thing. Meanwhile, JC and I are watching NXT being like, look at these fucking people go so fast and fun. And you're just sitting there being like, give me my old time baseball. Huh?
Yeah, the MLB playoffs took a lot away from wrestling.
That's true. You're an old man watching baseball.
That's true. I'm
gonna give you a blanket and a hard candy, and you're gonna fall asleep at 10 o'clock in the morning because you've been sleeping on your rocker all night, watching your baseball going to extra innings. Grandpa needs a nap at 2 o'clock. I know. It's fine. It's fine.
Absolute bullseye. Absolute bullseye. I was looking while you were on that rant. I was looking for my AEW stuff, which I don't know what I did with it. So
it's okay. It's okay. Do you have a comeback?
Comeback. Dakota Kai.
There you go.
Dakota Kai, awesome. She looked great last night. Back from a knee injury. Best she's looked in ring maybe since her NXT days. And every time this girl shows up, she's always the people that are always doing something to make you focus on them. Like she's always making faces, like kind of like a Holly Cameron in AEW, like always doing something on the outside or in the entrance. And it's like she's always making it a point to be the focal point, even when she's not. So I always think Dakota Kai's been a star. Now that she's back and she looks like $1 million. So that's my comeback.
All right.
That's all I got. I wish I had AEW stuff because I can't remember what the fuck.
That's okay. To the big old finish. We can talk about anything and everything here in the big old finish. We could talk about AEW here. NXT is going on right now, so we can't talk about that. I'm not going to preview Raw or SmackDown because I think there's spoilers, so I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. You can figure out what's going on there. We'll talk about it next week. The one thing I do want to expand upon here was we're going to go to AEW because JC's not here, and I get to talk a little bit more about AEW because I feel like he beats them into a pulp every week.
He does, and I love him to death, but Jesus Christ, JC. Cut him some slack. Like he blows through. He'll no sell AEW. I'm like, man, do you understand that like this company is 6 years old and we're watching them develop? Like how much fun that is for me. Like, yeah, it's trash sometimes, but like you're watching a company like develop and do rights and wrong. They're not WWE. Like they don't. That's what I love about them. They're learning as they go. And man, to watch all that, it's like, and they got star power. Their roster's fucking awesome. So I enjoy AEW more than mostly any other wrestling on TV other than Bloodline shit.
I will say this much. The last 3 weeks, and I guess this will be 4, have been pretty interesting for me. I think they've turned a page. I wouldn't necessarily say they're on the uptick forever. They've got momentum. They've got
a little juice right now.
And I think that's important because they've gone out of their way to kind of be the challenger alternative brand, which I appreciate. But I can get through a episode of Dynamite in 20 minutes.
Fair enough.
Want to know why? Is because there's nothing of consequence and it's too convoluted for somebody. It feels like I'm watching up until the last 3 or 4 weeks. It has felt like to me, like I am watching ADD TV.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I mean, the guy that's running it, that's his mindset, man. That's,
right. And I think the issue for me is, and this is really hard for somebody, and it's hard when someone's a billionaire and they're just paying you. And I understand that you need to get people in place to help you understand the regular person, because he's not a regular person. He's just not. He's a fine-tuned billionaire with a statistical mind, but you've got to tell me why I should care about fucking Commander. You've got to tell me why I should care about Beast. You should tell me what the fuck is going on with Adam Cole, MJF, and Roderick Strong, which again, I don't really care about Roderick Strong, but like it's a thing. But like they just assume you know stuff without like they're not growing the business yet because they're not growing their viewership through trying to help other people. Like you can say what you want about ratings. Ratings are flawed across the board, right?
Mhm.
NXT went against AEW and NXT squeaked them out. I wouldn't even say they won one, but they squeaked out. It was tight, but they won, definitively won, but it wasn't like a huge landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Like theoretically, that's over 1 million people that are wrestling fans watching. Theoretically. I don't know if that's really true. So their number, AEW, didn't really change very much. The NXT thing was there. So it's like AEW is missing 600,000 people every week, essentially, that are just deciding not to watch this thing anymore. And the reason is because everything is inconsequential. Like there's nothing of merit to go, this is must see. Their characters aren't characters all the time. And they've missed more than they've made. And it sucks because there are things that are wonderful, but here's the God honest truth. And it's not fair, but this is the way the world works. We watch professional wrestling because we like it. We want to see the physicality, the grand entrances and all these backstage segments and fighting. But you don't need to be good at wrestling to be good like television.
Right.
And we're
you have to be a great character. You're a great character. You're going to make it.
Yeah. And the problem is that there's not enough characters on that TV screen. Hangman Page is good. Swerve was good for a moment, and I feel like he lost some footing.
Well, they got him. I mean, he right now, I don't want to say he's headlining, but it's the first blockbuster match they're putting on to Full Gear, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's their right now. That's their headline. I don't think it's going to be the main event, but
no. But I mean, I can tell you what's going to happen at right now. This is what you want me to go through Full Gear. You talk me through this because I think this is promising.
I think so too. I think so too.
We have headline Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. I would think that Moxley's not going to be winning. I mean, losing that match anytime soon.
No, I'm also losing interest in Moxley by the week, which I hate because when it first happened, I was like, oh, this is exciting. Like, where's this going? And now it just feels like it's the same shit every week.
Right.
So,
we have Swerve and Bobby Lashley, which was weird. But it was weird. It was just like, I'll see you at Full Gear. Okay, bye. And it was just, I get that, but there was no necessary thing. I like the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, obviously they're all big deals. I hope Leo Rush or somebody else adds to the group.
I mean, right now, they're trying to recruit Ricochet. Mm-hmm. Right? Like all that backstage stuff with Ricochet, I thought was awesome. I'm like, that's great TV. Like, you got me.
Mm-hmm. But again, moving on, we have Mercedes Moné against Chris Statlander. On paper, this match will deliver. But the lead up to this feels like, I don't know what it is, but Mercedes to me doesn't feel like the big deal that I think she is. And I feel like it's missing.
Something got lost in translation with Mercedes from WWE to AEW, and adding Camille should have been a big deal, and it's actually made it worse.
Wow.
And I like Camille. That's not a knock, but it feels like they're just stumbling all over each other, those two right now. And I don't think either one is helping the other right now.
That's fascinating to me because I wouldn't even thought about that. Because I appreciate what she did in WWE, and then she branched out and did all these other things.
Right.
Obviously, when we talk to JC, I can't say anything because,
Right.
I don't know. It's just tough because I feel like her being the TBS champion made Mariah May feel like when she won, it was less or equal to. Yeah. And by doing that, you get to serve too many masters here. But the matches that Mercedes have been having to me hasn't been like, they're not bad, but I don't care.
They're not tearing down the house.
And then Mariah May, with the exception of this Anna Jay thing, I forgot about everything she's done.
Yeah.
Which sucks because she had the most momentum in my opinion, had the best.
Look who she was standing next to the whole time till it happened.
Right.
The woman that was doing the best work that we've seen in a very long time.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean that's on her.
What's that tell you?
Right, and then we also have going on. We have Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia. Like, I like both of these guys enough, but if Jack Perry's gonna feud with Peter Griffin in the fucking crowd and get fucking roughed up by fucking Danny in the fucking hallway, it's like, how am I supposed to take this guy seriously?
So there's something to Danny Garcia. They need to figure it out. And there's a crew of guys coming up with him, like Private Party and somebody else, that they're kind of creating their own little group. And Danny Garcia looks like he's going to be the head of it. So he's got something going on right now. And if he can figure it out, and if he can become like the head of that, like younger crew that's coming up through AEW, then I'm excited for Danny Garcia, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off.
I don't believe that they can figure out what Danny Garcia is. I think the thing is Danny Garcia is so raw and he's so talented, but what's going to bring him to the dance is not wrestling. It's brawling. It's going to be brawling and getting a promo. And I think Steve Austin could wrestle. Stunning Steve Austin was a hell of a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
But like when you watch Stone Cold matches, you're like, this guy just throws in punches and kicks and stunners. That's all he does.
There's so many reasons for what happened in between that, though. Like,
I understand, but guess what? But guess what?
He made it work.
Guess what? It's proof once again why the LA Knights and the Jey Usos of the world are just like, it just is what it is. Right. Stoop saying he didn't know the fuck that you were on. All right.
Oh, Stoop, what's up?
Soup's going to say, you got to put me on instead of Dom. That's what his next comment's going to be for 100%. There it is. We're almost done there, Stoop. So you're a little late to the potty, pal, in the words of John McClane. Anyway, let's see what else they got here. We didn't even get through. But anyway, the Private Party World Tag Team 4-way, we got the Outrunners, which are my personal favorite.
Love them.
They just make me go back to old school 80s wrestling. So
it's
I love
unbelievable. It. The bright neon and being ridiculous and loud and obnoxious. Yeah, I'm all for that.
But I assume Private Party don't lose these titles after what they did. So it's just kind of like, again, there's no stakes for me. And then, of course, Hangman Page versus Jay White. On paper, this is the most blood feud. This is the whatever. I like what Jay White's doing, selling his portion of it. I love Hangman Adam Page. To me, Hangman has the best from start of AEW till now. He's been the most consistent story. He's never shied away, and I've never scratched my head and gone, "Oh, that don't make no damn sense."
He's kind of been like their Sting almost. Like,
yeah, it's like he's just the loner. He's just they've invested so much into him because he's one of the elite. But like, you can say what you want about Kenny Omega, best bout machine, obviously, and hope he returns and comes back the way he was supposed to. And the Bucks are the Bucks and all that stuff. Cody's Cody. But there's something about Hangman that had so much to prove that I feel like that to me makes me feel like he's gone out of his way to continually add to his character. And there's been waves of like popularity with him and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here for this match. I'm here for both of these guys being in this situation at this time in their career. I think they both need a monumental match and program together because they're both too talented to not be top faces of this company.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, really quickly, let's go through, since you love Dynamite, I'm going to ask you like why I should care about any of these things. And you tell me yes or no. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
This week, we've got a full Dynamite. We got Mox seizes the Superstation.
I don't even know what that, I saw that. I have no fucking idea what it means. Like I said, what are you doing with Moxley? I don't get it.
He's part of the Death Riders, whatever that means. I don't know. Here's the thing. Wheeler Yuta.
Fuck him.
I'm not a fan of Wheeler Yuta. I like Pac enough. I like I like Cesaro enough, but I don't like John Moxley's fine. Then what is her name? Marina Shafir or whatever.
Marina Shafir.
Like, thank God she doesn't talk.
Yeah, she's like heavy. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just tough because it makes sense. It does, but it doesn't at the same time.
When they put these things out, I'm like, man, like, I don't know. And then I watch it. I'm like, it's not bad. Like they work it out. What else they got?
Okay, moving on. We've got, sell me on all these things there, Dommy. We've got a full year qualifier for the tag titles, FTR versus House of Black. Again.
Which do we know which two?
It's FTR versus House of Black. It's Buddy and I think the big guy. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's Malachi and Brody. Excuse me.
Okay. All right.
I assume it's FTR. I would assume it's FTR, right?
Right.
It's indifferent to me. It's indifferent. I don't care.
I mean, that match sells me. I like all those guys. So
if Adam Cole can win this match, he gets his match against MJF at the pay-per-view. It's Takeshita versus Adam Cole, baby. So
but he's going to get it anyway. Like, they're not going to put all the stock into him and MJF and not have him win.
Or do they have him lose and then Roderick Strong gets to get at the pay-per-view MJF? What do you think?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, I love Roddy Strong, but no. Adam Cole's going to win this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I can't overthink that one.
Okay. I would think you're wrong. I would think it would be interesting to see Adam Cole get so close and then not going to happen.
Wow.
Whatever. Anyway, this was an interesting matchup. We have Jay White and Juice Robinson in a grudge match against Hangman Adam Page and Christian Cage. Now, Christian Cage does not pick one of his sons, picks Hangman Adam Page instead, obviously because of what's going on with Jay and Juice. Sipping on Jay and Juice. Sorry, that was in my head now. Convoluted, excited. How do you feel?
Give it to me one more time.
Okay, it's Jay White and Juice versus Christian Cage and Hangman Adam Page. Cage and Page versus
What's Christian Cage doing there?
Jay and Juice. Jay and Juice, Page and Cage.
Jay and Juice with the win.
Okay. There's a whole backstory there with Christian Cage kind of interfering with Swerve and then the Hangman and interfering with Christian Cage's matches. It's a whole thing. So I think they're on the up and up together. It is what it is. We hear from Bobby Lashley, which is not a strong suit, but it is what it is. No, but
that's why he has MVP.
We hear from Jamie Hayter in the house, which she can do no wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's a good promo.
And we hear from Will Ospreay. Okay.
Right.
Whatever, bruv. I don't really know, right? And then we get to, here's some other things that are just like, whatever. Leo Rush versus Swerve Strickland. In my opinion, probably going to be a fucking fantastic match.
It's going to bang, right?
Right? But what the fuck? Like,
what's Leo Rush doing? Like, so my TBS app, again, this is something I have to watch AEW through Twitter because my TBS app is just a nightmare and I don't have YouTube TV. So I see Leo Rush a lot, but like he's just is he involved in anything?
He's part of, he got a card from the Hurt Syndicate. So it's like, is he part of it or not?
He was Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece in WWE for a second.
Yeah.
So there's some history.
Lashley.
So all right, so they probably get involved in this then. So Hurt Business probably gets involved.
I would just be interested to see if Leo can be part of the Hurt Syndicate, it's fine. If Leo's not part of it, then I'm not a fan of that.
There has to be something involving Leo and the Hurt Syndicate for that match to matter. If it's just going to be a banger, then like great to watch. But again, like you said, what are you doing? We're not progressing yet. Yeah.
And finally, we have two more. Lance Archer versus Roderick Strong Falls Count Anywhere. I think this is a fucking turd of a match, in my opinion. Do not care. Lance Archer is the biggest man to slip on a banana peel each and every week in AEW. Don't care. He's not a murder hawk to me. And of course,
Conway is going to be pissed.
I don't care. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks. I love Conway, but god damn it, does he suck? Like, doesn't care. If I saw Lance Armstrong, if I saw Lance Archer or whatever his name is, I'd be like, can you win the match? You're like 7 feet tall. Can you win a fucking match? What is Roddy going to do? Backbreak him to death? Give me a fucking break.
All right.
And then finally, we have Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Penelope Ford. Here's the thing.
I don't need either one of them. But Penelope Ford's like...
Yeah, but you're thinking for different reasons. You're
right, exactly. Right, yeah. Like, she's great, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it's just like they're trying.
Britt Baker sucks.
We're trying. We're trying, but we're just not there yet. We're just not there. And that's fine, but it's painful. It's painful to me. And I want them to succeed because it's better for everybody involved. The pieces are there, but you got to make them care.
They will. They'll figure it out. I have full faith in AEW that they're going to figure out their roster is too stacked. They're too talented. Eventually, it's going to come together.
A broken clock, right twice a day, right? So eventually they'll figure shit out.
Right.
You're probably more confident that they'll figure it out more than Braun Breaker is going to be world champion someday, but that's okay. That's all right. Anyway, we should get the fuck out of here. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we leave?
No, thanks for letting me on, and I appreciate it. Can't wait.
No problem. I can't wait for JC to text me immediately after this program to tell me to never invite you on again, especially after your
This is probably my last.
So I'll have a cemetery grave put on the Jobber Knocker specifically for your host. Thank you, thank you again, Tom, for hanging out with us. Thank you for all of you.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. Thank you for listening and watching to the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.